is where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki goes, dives on the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernot. Gernot will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
The Lotus 79 did indeed race at Zandvoort, though it was a much quicker track back then. Yet, even today's race is now on a slightly out-of-date circuit. F1 will return to this legendary place with a few new additions, but will it be as exciting as our drivers tend to make it? Let's see if we get another thriller as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. With how technical this track is, it's worth taking a closer look at the ins and outs of this place. Let's do just that with our track guide.
All right, we've got Juha Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Zandvoort. Tarzan is easily the best place to pass around here. The banking around the outside will make it more feasible to try to defend on that line, but it's incredibly difficult. From off the corner, drivers will hold to the left to set themselves up for the narrow Gerlach. There's a little crest that makes it unwise to try to go through too wide, which is disappointing because otherwise Hugenholtz would be another good hairpin for a pass. Try to set yourself up for the exit since it's a steep uphill climb. Plus, you're not going to be lifting all the way through Slotemacher and turn 5. The rise will make it very blind on the entry into Schivlach, but the banking is what keeps the speeds through this sweeper terrifyingly fast. From out of there, it's a pretty short trip up to Marlborough, which kicks off the modern section of the circuit. The track continues to curve all the way up to Renault, making braking very difficult. This hairpin swings you right into the line for the next hairpin, which is Vodafone. It's a lot more important to get the proper line through this corner since it'll lead you onto the backstretch, so make sure and square off the exit. Drift the car gently across the track, and once you come over the hill, spot your brake marker for the Audi S. This weird chicane hairpin combo is very slow and tight. Like any low-speed corner in the Lotus, be careful with your right foot so that you don't loop it. Then there's Kumo, which is critical to both this lap and the next one. Use the banking and try to carry as much speed as you can because you won't be lifting all the way to the line. Lyondike is a flat-out blast with very little runoff to the outside. This could set up some draft battles down the front stretch, but hopefully you've kept it all together and have now finished the lap around Zandvoort.
There you see how quickly they can get around this track. You can imagine modern F1 cars and how fast they're going to be lapping around here. But Mick, why don't you tell us a little bit of the details?
Yeah, it's a great track, isn't it? Zandvoort. Love this place, Joe. It's been around since racing began, it feels like, you know. 2.6 miles. It's quite a short track, really. I thought it would be longer than that. Yeah, about 4.2 kilometers, 13 turns. 30 laps today in the Lotus 79. I love the guys. They really nail the length of the race just fine for me. You know, not a sprint race, not an endurance race, just spot on. Really looking forward to this one, mate.
And we, of course, have that championship now with the season halfway over. So why don't we take a glance at how that is going currently? The Drivers' Championship being led by Gernot Frische, who's been dominant, but he wasn't there last week at Barcelona. Still, even with that, a 54-point lead over Matt Wood, who was not able to take victory last week. Nicola Kochi is the one holding on in third. Another driver still looking for his first win this season, potentially. Bycroft, a long ways back. Certainly not as close as he was last season, where he was in the fight for the championship until very late. And then Sergio Fernandez coming to the fore, with him being the one taking the win at Spain. Now, of course, we have new viewers all the time, so why don't we take a look at the race details for today. And as we mentioned, we are in round 7, but currently we have 30 laps on the board, and we've got an open setup series, with this being an official racing. And drivers can tweak it to their liking. This is going to be probably a high downforce track. Now, they can get DQ'd in this series if they hit 25 incidents. Before they get to that, though, if they come up to 17 off tracks or spins, or however many incidents it takes, they will have to serve a stop and go penalty in the pit lane. And we certainly don't want that in a series like this, where they don't have any scheduled pit stops out there. Of course, we have our pit reporter with us once again, Urka Lindstrom. Urka, I know you've got a lot of experience with these open wheel cars, and with this track at least being used somewhat regularly in this series. I mean, what are you expecting it to be like for the drivers out there today?
Hello. Yeah, I think it's going to be very exciting. There's like 35 cars in the grid. So in the open wheel cars, it means like a lot of action in the first 3 to 4 corners. Also, as we all know, open wheel cars, there's no room for like touching or other wheel banging or anything. So I think it's going to be very exciting, and let's hope it's going to be clean.
Yeah, certainly hoping that we can get through Tarzan. There we see on screen cleanly. Right now, Nicola Kochi has the provisional pole, so that's good for him. But where is Gernot Friesche? He's still yet to set his first time, it looks like, as he's still coming around. Matt Wood faster than Kochi now, so that bodes well for Wood, Mick.
Yeah, I was going to say Matt Wood was quicker in the race just previously. He missed pole position by half a tenth, so it's going to be really interesting. Gernot's going to have to pull something, so a nice lap. You know, he really needs to get in front of Matt. Like you say, it is quite hard to pass here, so don't expect too many mistakes from the guys up front. But these battles are going to start, being created as the guys sort of tyres wear out. They might be overheating the tyres a bit, and it's going to be tough to keep the mistakes to a minimum. So yeah, really looking forward to this one, Joe. Matt Wood's still on pole.
Friesche didn't set a time that by, and I don't think that was because of an off track. I think it was just on his out lap. Granted, the laps go by quick, so he still has time here. Interesting to note that Wood is a half a second ahead of Kochi, but Nicola's coming across now, and his second lap is about 0.2 quicker, so that gets him closer, but he stays in second place. Steve Bycroft also not looking too bad as he's sitting in third. Wood coming across. Let's see what this does. Ooh, another 0.2 quicker, so Matt Wood responds. And Sammy Toikala, he's up to second place, so things shifting around now.
Yeah, Steve Bycroft struggling a little bit there. But now he's not. He's gone up to second place. Yeah, driver's curse on the commentator there.
Yeah, that puts him up into P2, about 0.3 of a second back. Sergio Fernandez managed to get up to third at one moment, but now he's been bumped back down to fifth. I think he's still got a ways to go before he finishes his second lap. The Trangerade just finished. This is Suarez that we're watching come across. And now we want to know what Friesche does on this first time lap. This could upend everything. A 24 flat, it does. He goes faster than Wood, but by less than 0.1 of a second.
Now, was that his first lap, Joe?
That was.
Yeah, I think he's done a really slow out lap there to not wear the tyres out on his first lap. I'd be really surprised if he can go faster this lap, but this is going up we're talking about, so let's wait and see.
The conditions are pretty cool too. It's about 73 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface right now. So we watch Fernandez try to go quicker again. Won last week. What can he do with 24.4? That's going to bump him up to third place. Still a bit back, about 0.2 behind even Matt Wood. So he's got some room to improve. Now, one driver that's had a little bit of a talking to from the other drivers around him is Chris Baumann. He's been quick, but he's been inconsistent. He's been making mistakes, wrecking out. And drivers tried to give him a little bit of advice on that. So he's currently sitting in 8th, and he's trying to finish his second lap as we watch Novaki also come across. Looks like he's going to stay in 25th, though. Johnny Bell.
Yeah, Chris,
his second lap.
Sorry, Joe. Yeah, I was just going to say Chris had a good race last race. He was in the race previous to this one. He had a good race. I think he finished 3rd, I think, behind Matt. So just watching Gurno now over the line. He did improve. Yeah, he did improve by a few thousandths there, didn't he?
So as Baumann comes to the line. Ooh, Baumann now up to 3rd, and he bumps Fernandez out.
Yeah, like I said, Joe, he was pretty quick last race. So it looks like the grid is set pretty much how the race ended last time, I think. Sergio was in 4th, I think, in the last race as well. And Steve was, for his sort of level seemed to a bit struggling slightly, in qualifying. And so, yeah, going to be interesting now to see if anyone's done a bit of a setup change for the race.
And looks like Francesco is slow. But we've also got Dizdarevich and Herner trying to finish. Oh, but Herner has it off track and a big wreck. Where is Dizdarevich? He's still not without a time on the board. He's just going to cross with a few seconds to spare. Good enough to get a 29 flat. That'll put him in 30th, though. Well down the order. That's going to be it for our qualifying. Let's go through our starting order with Gernot Frische starting on the pole and Matt Wood starting next to him. These two rivals can't seem to get away from one another. Chris Baumann, can he keep up the good effort here and get another good finish starting from 3rd? We'll see. Sergio Fernandez looking to repeat his win from Spain. He'll start 4th. Steve Bycroft P5 with Sammy Toikala in 6th position. Then we got Nicola Kochi starting in 7th with Timu Vascalampi in 8th. Kendrick Taylor will start 9th, and the top 10 is rounded out by John Stevens.
Number 11th, Uwe Trangrade. He seemed to struggle there, but he's just outside the top 10. Peter Konecki in 12th. Alessandro Parigi in 13th. Sam Doby in 14th. Timothy Reed in 15th. Robert Plumley will be streaming 16th. Daniel Banker in 17th. Plabo Suarez in 18th. Robert Simpkins in 19th. Stefan Laslasha in 20th. Not sure he'll be happy with that. Barry West in 21st. He finished 8th last race. So take it away, Joe. Sorry.
That's okay. Keith Herner starts 22nd. Upeka Kalahara in 23rd. Then it's Havard Espeland in 24th and Bartosz Nowacki in 25th. You've got P26 belonging to Steve Sarles and Nelson Costa de Sousa in 27th. Masson Pascal starts 28th today. Johnny Bell 29th and Adnan Dizdarevich in 30th. Last few cars to get a time in is Todd Herner 31st, Lauren Doolittle 32nd, and Francesco Erario in 33rd. Tobias Roner and Luka Legovic are going to start at the tail end of the field as we have our cars just waiting for Plumley to find his way out to the grid. And then we get to go racing for 30 laps here today. Still yet to see Plumley. There he goes. Plops his car out amongst all of the other 35. Engines start to rev. Lights are up. It's a long wait. Green flag is out off the line. How is Frische look? He looks strong, actually. 3rd place, not so much. Chris Baumann already under attack by both Bycroft and Fernandez down to the inside. Fernandez has got that desired apex, and he's going to be able to sneak ahead. Maybe not, because here comes Baumann back at him as they go side by side up to Gerlach. This is going to be hard to go side by side, but Fernandez wins out.
Unbelievable start. Actually had my camera set on focus on crashes, and I haven't had to use it yet. Everyone's clean all the way through. Oh, spoke too soon. Someone went up in the air at the back of the field there. Can't quite see who it was. He carried on going.
I didn't catch it myself. We'll have to go back to that, but everybody is still running. So your lead up at the front is Frische, Wood, Fernandez, Baumann, and Bycroft. For your top 5, everybody already single file, looking to try and tick off some laps before they start to get aggressive. Weaving through the newer infield portion of this track, and now down to one of the few places you can try and pass here to Hans Ernst.
there's a little bit of argy-bargy in the back of the field in 22nd place. Keith Herner was side by side with Pico Calara there. They banged wheels, but no damage for either of them there, but lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, they are really packed up back there. Novaki being passed by D'Souza, and that was for 24th place, but they've got it sorted out as we watch our leaders come around to finish the first lap and break once again into Tarzan. Freesia starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Matt Wood, and then from there, they're still very much in a line between Wood, Fernandez, Bauman, Bycroft, and Kochi, all the way back to 6th place. We see the string of cars working their way up the hill through Slotemacher, and then into the very, very swift Shivlock here, heavily banked right-hander.
Just something to note, Joe, Francisco Erario is currently last. He's really, really slow down the front straight. The leaders are going to be catching up on him any minute. He's literally just poodling around.
So as we watch our leaders once again, Wood does not seem to have much to try and run down Freesia. That his only hope is if his setup starts to come in a little bit later in this race comparatively to the Austrian. He's more worried probably about Fernandez, who certainly had the measure of him in Spain, managed to get past, and then Wood had no response once Fernandez made the overtake.
Yeah, just something to note again, you touched on it earlier, Joe. Chris Bauman did have a couple of messages sent to him in the forum, really, about just about how to calm down a bit and try and relax a bit. You know, he's got the pace. Everyone realises he's got the pace. But as you say, he's had a few bad races. The guy that was saying that was the guy in front at the moment, Fernando Sanchez. Sergio Fernandez, sorry. So it wasn't nothing against him. It was a friendly chat, but it's just going to be interesting to see now if Chris can catch Fernandez and see how that battle unfolds.
Poor Daniel Banker had a big wreck coming out of Lyondike. Let's take a look at the replay. It's pretty much ended his race as he took a tumble with this one. Yeah, just as you saw there, just put wheels off into the grass, and that split second is all it took.
Yeah, really tough to come out of that last corner, ain't it, Joe? You put a wheel on the grass there. These cars got too much power to do that. You get away with it in the lower power cars, but not a 79.
Once he hit that barrier, it just went up and over very quickly. So as we come back live, nothing has changed really up at the top. We're watching Fernandez once again, trying to deal with Bauman behind him. Bycroft, of course, giving watch as they come down the front stretch up towards Tarzan. When F1 last visited here back in '85, it was Niki Lauda who actually won that race. Oh, and we've had a car off. Espeland's down in 32nd. Looks like, did this happen in Kumho? Ooh, it did, and he may have had a little bit of help. He was trying to overtake Pascal. That's Espeland on screen. You're going to see Pascal slow out of the chicane, and he thinks he's clear, but unfortunately tried to pull over when Pascal was still there and really slammed into the Armco with that one. And we had a problem with Herner. Ooh. He unfortunately did not get on the brakes enough with Kalahar in front of him here into Tarzan. You're going to see on the replay. Oh. And that. I think well, we were looking for Keith Herner. Wrong Herner that we had on screen there.
Forgot sorry, that's why I was quiet. I was looking at the wrong Herner.
But we did see that was Keith trying to get back on track, and the blue and white machine that we did see on the replay was able to keep going after that little bit of a turnaround.
Yeah,
understandable for our director there.
Yeah, he even got lifted up at the end of that little wreck, and I was wondering if that was going to mess the suspension up. But yeah, he's carrying on. He's still there. He's chasing down the guy in front, who is Todd Herner. That's where it happened, isn't it? So it's going to be an interesting little fight, I think.
As we head back to Fernandez, still dealing. Oh, and what happened to Kochi? Oh, and Kochi is right in the middle of the racing line. He's trying to get it out of the way. He got clipped by a couple cars, and who did he run into? Oh,
yeah, this is what I'm saying, Joe. Yeah, he was driving so slowly. I could see it happening. This is why I called it earlier. There was a difference there of a massive. He was doing 100 miles an hour where Nicola was 150. Nicola would not have expected him to be going that slowly.
Yeah, and it's a blind apex. Here we're gonna watch from Nicola's. Yeah. Ugh. And then unfortunately, he got clipped a couple times. One was Peter Konecki, but we're coming back live. The number 12, I think, is still going okay, so hopefully that damage isn't too bad. Running in 10th, and he's currently chasing down Kendrick Taylor. Probably looks okay, so maybe it was a little bit of net code, at least on my end.
Yeah, I think I saw the same. Uwe Trangere's chasing him down from behind as well. Just looking at the lap times, 1:27.3 for Uwe last time by 27.1 for Konecki. Look at that beautiful Honda paint, Joe. I love Uwe's paints. Real classic paints he was using.
I love that he is devoted to that Honda scheme. That comes from the Lotus 49 series where they run some classic paint schemes, and of course he painted it like the 67 Honda, but didn't quite have the Honda here in 78, but he doesn't care. He just loves having the rising sun on there.
Just one thing to note about over this particular track, he's really good at this track. I know he's stuck down in 11th, qualified around that position as well. But he's one to watch. He seems to sort of build up a bit of confidence at this place, you know. So I reckon he's gonna have a few fights in front of him here with these cars in front. It looks like he's a bit quicker than them anyway. Now as they go on to the front straight. Just going to check out his exit on the front straight. Oh, Konecki's one a bit wide. Then this is on for the inside. Konecki, what's Konecki going to do? Is he going to defend or not? He's not. Who's going to get this?
He's got a nose to the inside, but he's got to be late on the brakes.
Pete was super late on the brakes there.
So great stuff from Peter, managing to hold back Trangerade. Don't need to go to the replay, but Masson Pascal had a self-spin, and he is now out of this race, unfortunately. So he hit the barrier with that. Let's go back to Novaki. In 19th, we got some side-by-side action. Bartaz almost able to get by D'Souza, but he had to back out by the time we got here in Gerlach. Look at what's stacking up behind them, though. That's Kalahara and Steve Sarles as well. I think that's one of the problems with fighting here, Mick, is as soon as you get side by side, you just bring everybody who's close behind you in.
Yeah, definitely. It happened in the last race, and that's what I was thinking was going to happen this race as well. And there's a lot more cars here as well. So another thing to mention is the fact that there's going to be traffic later on for the leaders. But yeah, it really does. Oh, he really lost the back end there, didn't he, Nowacki? He's run really wide as well now. So yeah, it just bunches everyone up, and the guy who has the hardest job of it, I think, is the guy in the front of this pack. You know, he's just mirror watching, and everyone's just going to be bunching up to him. You know, into the chicane they go now.
D'Souza leading in the red car. The red and white machine is Novaki. Then you've got Kalahara behind, and they've even got Tobias Rohner joining. So now it's a 5-car train as they come out of Lyondike onto the front stretch, but D'Souza looks to have really managed to gap them. That is critical down this front stretch. Trying to keep drivers from attacking. Unfortunately, not the same can be said for Sarles, who had Rohner taking a peek on him there in the background. Nothing able to be done as he was not close enough.
Nice on ball shot there from Rohner. Just watching Sarles there, just running wide again in the little the left-hander. I think the guys would have had to set up for a bit of mechanical grip. Do you think, Joe? Because there's a lot of slow corners here, isn't there? You know, and this car doesn't really like the mechanical grip side of, you know, the slow corners. You know, it's all about downforce and the ground effect. You know.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be just a handful to try and drive. Another one we don't need to go to, but Timothy Reed lost 2 or 3 positions with an off coming through Renault. He has since made it back on track, but now he's got to try and deal with Schlacher ahead of him, as well as Suarez and Plumley. Ooh, but I think we got another try for Roner. He's going to look to the inside on Sarles. Oh, but Sarles gets into the back of Kalahara. Both of them off track. And that's a 2-for-1 deal for Tobias.
Yeah, I think he was mirror watching there, wasn't he? Just missed that braking marker. Yeah, I think that was just a case of just watching the mirror to see if Tobias was going to make a move up the inside there.
And poor Pecco was just, he was an innocent bystander. He was trying to run his own race and suddenly finds the car facing the wrong way.
Yeah, I was just about to come on. Sorry, Joe. I was just about to come on mic and say it looks like he was the slowest out of the group there. So I could see the cars sort of closing up on him. You know, just at that point.
From that onboard, it did look like it was some net code, though. So I don't think it was entirely Sarles' fault. Let's head back up to second place, though, because Matt Wood still ahead of Fernandez and Bauman. You talk about being the slowest car in the line. They've been a little bit stuck behind Wood for a number of laps now, and they have not been giving away on the pressure. So I wonder if they're waiting for an opportunity to get nice and close and maybe get an overtake. But for now, they've just been hovering at about this 7/10 back.
Yeah, there's not much in it between the whole lot of these guys up front, is there? You know, it's just the nature of racing. You know, the closer you get to the top, the closer the cars are to the limit, so the lap times are going to be closer. But and where's the mistake going to come from? You know, is there going to be a mistake out of one of these guys?
Another incident at the back of the field. Dizderevich got into Johnny Bell, which collected. Trying to figure out who the third person was. Looks like Keith Herner. Boy, Keith's been in it today. Let's take a look at that replay, because I'm not really sure about this move from Dizderevich. This looked a little ambitious. This happens out of Renault into Vodafone, so you're going to see it here in a little bit after Masters. That's Dizderevich in the yellow machine. That's Herner in the blue and white.
Oh, it was Johnny Bell.
Red and white.
Yeah, Johnny Bell was the one that got hit there. Yeah, it was a bit ambitious, like you say, wasn't it?
And Dizderevich is the one that comes away with the positions, unfortunately. So that's not going to make Herner and Bell all that happy.
Have you just noticed, Joe? There's been a few wrecks where everyone's just carried on going, and that was another one. How are these cars surviving this carnage?
I kind of have the same feelings, because usually the barriers are so close and it's so fast here. Fernandez just made a mistake. Fernandez just lost third place to Chris Bauman. This happened into Hugenholtz. See if we can pull up a replay. And this was driver error. Fernandez dips a wheel off and then clouts the barrier, and Bauman actually almost loses the car trying to dip to the inside of him.
Yeah, just lost a little bit of just overran that corner before, didn't he, and ran it wide on the sand there. Notice I said sand, not grass.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
This track, that's going to be interesting when F1 comes back in real life, when they suddenly realize it is literally next to the beach and everything is blowing across it, taking all that grip away as we ride on board with Fernandez. Back into fourth now. Bauman looking at a podium if he can hold off Sergio.
Yeah, like I said, Joe, he was quick in the earlier race. I don't know if Sergio's going to have the pace to catch him. Chris is doing a really good job today. Like I say, in the previous race and today. Please don't let that be a commentator's curse on him. But yeah, really impressed with Chris.
Drivers who have suffered a bit of a curse today seem to have DNF'd, as we've got a number of drivers grayed out. Urka, sorry we've been ignoring you so much. There's been a lot of action on track. Who all's left us at this point and joined you down in pit lane?
Yes, we have Lauren Doolittle. He's in the pit lane also. So also Luka Lecevic, he had some problem. He had like a very good start of the race. Plus 14 positions already, but then he had some off track, and now he is on P24, so not so nice anymore. But okay, there's 7 drivers now off the race, so yeah, like we know, this track is very tricky. When you lose the car, you most probably hit something, barriers or other cars, so yes.
Thanks for that, Urka. Meanwhile, on screen, we're watching John Stevens lead another train. That's Kendrick Taylor, Peter Konecki, and Ove Trangrade all close together, battling just at the tail end of the top 10.
Nicely on the brakes there for Ove. He's right on Peter's gearbox now as they head in second from last turn. See how their apexes are nicely through there for all 4 of them, actually. Interesting to see. Yeah, go on, Joe.
I was going to say Trangrade's the closest of the 4 with an opportunity on Konecki, but he just doesn't get the run off of Lyondike. They're all too far apart coming down into Tarzan here. Oh, that was way late into the quarter for Konecki, though. He sent it in deep.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to hurt your sort of overall pace, I don't think. Maybe it's the camber of that corner, but yeah, I mean, through the left-hander now, Uwe's caught up again. Maybe he's a bit quicker on the infield. Uwe did look really good in the last 2 corners in the last race, so maybe, I'm not sure, maybe his setup's going to come in later on. Maybe his confidence is going to grow a bit. He doesn't practice that much in this car, so he will be a bit green. So yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how this unfolds, because there's nothing in it between them. And look at Uwe now; he's all over the back of Peter now as they're heading down to the left-hander. Everyone seems to take a wide line there, except Uwe.
Yeah, I think he was hoping maybe he could get a nose in on Peter, but just Peter chopped him off at the apex. He knew better than to try and give him space there. As they swing it through Hans Ernst once again. Uwe, you're right. He is good in these slower portions. He's got that mechanical grip down. It's here that he needs it, though. He needs to really get on the power. Coming out of Lyondike, he's there, but he's starting to drop back once again. Can't do anything. And Peter Konecki keeps him at arm's length.
Yeah, Peter was a bit messy through the chicane there. He did miss the apex by quite a margin. Again, I can't even see who that is now. That's John Stevens, isn't it? Sorry, Kendrick Taylor was really wide through Tarzan there that time by. But yeah, still Peter. Oh, Kendrick's off. Oh, Kendrick.
And that was very similar to what we saw with Fernandez. We're going to watch the replay, except in the case of Taylor, he hits a lot harder.
Yeah, he hit the sand. I'll say again, he hit the sand a little bit later on than the other guy. So yeah, horrible. He's still going though. I'm just watching him again at the end of the replay. He's carrying on driving. I mean, the car's been in the barrier.
Oh, speaking of which, another problem in the same corner Hugenholtz for D'Souza, except he spun it. Let's take a look at the replay. Everybody did a magnificent job avoiding him. This is going to see Legovic and Novaki have to really go around either side. Nicely done. Meanwhile, with not many drivers doing much in pit lane other than licking their wounds, Urka's been kind of watching the timing screen. You've noticed some big movers back there, Urka. Who's really on a charge?
Yes, there's Tobias Werner. He's been like plus 16 positions since the start of the race, so it's very nice race for him. But also there's Lecevic plus 15 point. So I think it's those two are the biggest movers of the race so far.
A good eye on those as we ride on board with Legovic now coming back onto the front stretch. Let's hop back up to our leader, though. We do have one in this race. Frisha just kind of took off at the start, and he's got about 3.5 seconds gap back to Matt Wood. Really has not been phased at all. He's just dealing with traffic at this point.
Yeah, another great drive by Gernot there. Really, it's just so nicely. He's just he never messes up, does he, Joe? He never misses an apex. I've never seen him, outbrake himself or lock a wheel or anything like that. And this guy is on the limit. I mean, he's leading the race. He's not taking it easy. Really impressed. Really impressed with how Gernot drives.
We go to about 40 seconds ago. Ove Trankere just had a magnificent save. This is coming into Vodafone. Let's take a look at the replay. He was trying to catch Konecki, and isn't this just like Ove from what we've seen him racing over the years here on GSRC, Mick? Because it's not just the Lotus 49, apparently. I guess he's able to get it sideways here in this car, too.
Yeah, that's just how he's driven every moment of his career on iRacing. From what I've seen, he just had a massive moment again on the second corner, just going on the left-hander now. He really does know how to handle a car when it gets out of shape. You can argue, why did it get out of shape? But if it does, he can handle it.
Maybe he needs to hop in the rallycross cars a little bit more around here. As we continue to watch him chase Konecki. He keeps getting close and then starts to make those mistakes, and the gap grows once more. Speaking of which, we don't need to go to it, but the gap between Baumann and Fernandez has gone up a bit. Sergio is not able to hold on to Chris ever since he made that mistake and let him through. Ooh, we got a little bit of a battle between Plumley and Suarez. This is coming down to Hans Ernst. Suarez to the outside, but it's going to switch to the inside here through the heavy banking of the chicane. Is he going to be able to complete it? He's got a nose ahead, but it goes to the right. Yes, he does. Down into Kumho. That moves Suarez up to 12th.
Nice move there by Suarez. Let's see how they exit this corner now, because this could be on down into Tarzan. Yeah, Suarez already knows it. Robert Plumley down on the slipstream now. He's going to get the outside of the corner. Might get a bit of mileage around the outside here, but Suarez has run well deep there. Side by side now as they go. Go, Joe.
He was trying for that over-under, but Plumley couldn't quite get the throttle down. Here comes Stefan Schlacker now. He's loving this. This battling has allowed him to maybe have a shot at getting 2 positions in one go. But as they speed up over through Slotemacher, they're going to hit Shivlak now. Hard to pass through here. Then things are going to slow down once they come into Masters and then Renault as it gets tighter into the newer section.
Yeah, we all know Steph pretty well of being a GSRC guy. We know that he wants a top 10, but maybe that's a little bit too far today, but he's going to want these 2 spots, ain't he, Joe?
We started in 20th, so he's gained quite a few spots already.
He's done really well.
I think they're settling down a little bit in these 3 now that Suarez has been able to fend off Plumley. But Plumley's getting ever closer to Stefan Schlacker. This could be a good run on the front stretch. What has Steph got underneath him? Not enough, it looks like. He's going to get a little bit of a tow, but he'll run out of room by the time they hit Tarzan.
There's a nice little battle for 18th place between Lekjovic, Barry West and Nowaski. It looks like Nowaski got the place on this last lap by, because he's still showing in 19th. They were a lot closer together just there through the chicane. Look, interesting to see how this goes on. Lekjovic's got a nice run down the front straight here. Barry West might go defensive. Yeah, he's sort of stuck in the middle of the trail. He's going to lose. Wow, whoa! Hang on to it, guys. Hang on to it.
He's going to get the
get no closer than that, does it?
Oh, West gave him the space at the apex. I don't think he'll be happy about that one. Might have made a little bit of contact. You could see some damage on the front of West as well. Can we get a replay of that?
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe, those tyres were intermingling on my screen. There was no gap between the front tyre and the rear tyre there.
Yeah, he essentially said, I'm coming through no matter what you do. And Barry West had to make rooms. And Luca, he didn't qualify. So he's having to really gain a lot of ground compared to what his pace seems to elicit. I have to imagine from what it looks like, he probably would have qualified somewhere around 15th or so.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Joe, I'm a real fan of this. You know, when you're up alongside a car like that into a slow corner like turn one, I'm really a fan of guys who just say to themselves, I'm not going to brake until you brake, and then we're just going to see what happens. You know, I mean, you know, both cars are still on the track. They're still going around. I know it was a little bit of a hairy moment, but fair play to him, you know.
Gave us some excitement, that's for sure. And he's already pulling away from Barry West. So I guess credit to Luca, because he knew he had the pace to try and run away from him, and he would rather have it done sooner than later. Now he sets his sights, of course, on Bartos. He's a little bit up the road in that 18th position. We're not missing a whole lot up at the front. Most of our drivers in the top 10 have separated. Really, the closest fight is between Konecki and Trangarade still.
Yeah, I was just watching that myself. Yeah, Uwe's had a really nice couple of corners last time by. He's right on Peter's gearbox now. Just has to nail these last two corners, doesn't he, Joe? He's having real trouble, but this looks good. Yeah, he's. I think he's close enough now in the last corner to see how he gets out. Peter misses the apex slightly, but there's a bit of a gap. Yeah, Uwe's not going to do it on this lap. Peter's still getting a toe off the car in front as well, of course, so making it quite hard for Uwe to get in there. Oh, he was running a little
braking.
Yeah, he really understeered across the track there, though.
Looks like it might be a little bit of a difference in setup, because Trangarade just doesn't seem to be able to outrun him in a straight line, even though he's getting the slipstream. I wonder if he's got a lot of wing cranked into that. Continues to give chase here. He's into the top 10. The Norwegian wants a little bit more. They've only got 10 laps left to go, though. He's running out of time to do something.
Peter's car was he's gone really wide there. Yeah, Uwe's got that. Yeah, I think that was the corner before. I was just going to say Peter ran really hard over the curb there. Uwe's ran really wide again.
There.
Yeah.
Uwe still holds on to it, but Peter might have another go. He's got to separate now, because as I was just saying, straight line speed does not seem to be the strength of the number 10 car. Now that he's got 9th place, he's got to try and pull away. Peter stays with it as they come through Kumho, and then through Lyondike onto the front stretch. A bit of a gap built up by Uwe now.
Yeah, I can see that coming down, can't you?
He's closing in, but I think he did it just well enough. I think he's got it now. If he can just manage to pull away, that'll solidify that position.
Yeah, it does seem to be quicker through the slower part of the course, doesn't he, Joe? And be interesting now to see if Uwe can do anything about John Stevens ahead of him. But yeah, he's pulling a bit of a gap on Peter now already through the infield. It's just those last two corners he's having trouble with. I don't know if his car setup or just his driving style or whatever. Maybe he'd be better off drifting around him.
Yeah, I guess you can burn up the tires, but he's holding on to it. So maybe whatever he's done with his setup works well for what he does. Meanwhile, there's really no challenge for our leaders. Friese just set the fastest lap of the race. Matt Wood a whole 5 seconds behind, and that's with dealing with traffic that Gernot has just left everybody behind.
Yeah, if you owned your own racing team, Joe, who would you want in that car?
I'd probably put Friese in if it was the Lotus 79, yeah, if I'm honest.
Just going back to Uwe now, he had a really good lap last time by, and he has closed the gap now to John Stevens. Just running down the front straight again now. Just be interesting to keep an eye on this.
And you know what? Credit to Chris Bauman, because not every driver really takes kindly to being chided like he was on the forums. The way that drivers, I mean, it wasn't that harsh, but some people don't really like hearing that from their competitors. Chris is really taking it to heart. You said he had a good race last time. He's looking magnificent this time, not just getting up into that third place, now looking to challenge for second. This is a guy who looks like he's got a bright future here on iRacing, because for him to be able to take that in such a short amount of time, correct his mistakes, and really buckle down, he's impressed me.
Don't curse him, Joe. Don't curse him.
Yeah, he does have to keep it safe for 8 more laps here. So far, so good, though.
Yeah, pretty impressed with Chris and Matt as it goes. Matt's driving really well. Sergio's not that far behind these guys. They start battling, if they start getting some side-by-side action or some back markers, Sergio's going to be able to take a chunk out of them, I think.
Yeah, he's eagerly watching to see what Chris does. Try and battle with Matt Wood as well. If those two get side by side, that's an opportunity. We're down to, I think, 21 cars left on the lead lap. Yes, indeed. Out of our 35 starters, Prisha's really rifling through the field at this point, and Bauman getting ever closer to Matt Wood up ahead. Here's Dizdarevich, like you were pointing out, but he's going to pull off to the side. Great heads up by the 28, but he's going to split them from Sergio Fernandez. He pulls back in line.
Yeah, and the guys in front of Matt now are in their own battle, so although they have to get out of the way, they don't really want to, or that, you know, it's just horrible for everyone, really. You know, just wish it wouldn't be in this, you know, I thought Matt was coming off then. Yeah, Keith's just got out of the way nicely there, so he's given up that battle what he was in, so that's really great driving by Keith there.
Yeah, great sportsmanship. He sees that that's a front runner in a really tight fight. In fact, he's also going to let, looks like, Fernandez by. And now he's really got to hold off Dizdarevich, who is a battle for position. Sarles is doing similarly. He's letting them through. He's trying to make sure he doesn't interrupt a fight for very high rate of points.
Just one thing to note, Gernot was catching up with Barry West there. Barry West just sailed straight through the corner at Tarzan into the barrier. I'm not sure if he's carried on going, but it was a pretty big hit.
We've also got a very tight fight between Ivaki and Legovic. 18th and 19th, tight together here. And this is both Central Eastern European drivers. You couldn't tell by the names. They clearly have got some speed underneath them, coming off of Lyondike now onto the front stretch. Luca trying to gain yet more positions. Oh, and he is quick in a straight line. Look at him start to gain. He was brave on the brakes before. He's brave on the brakes again, but not brave enough, as Novaki says, no, you don't, and covers him off.
Yep, certain Mr. Fritcher is catching them as well, so they're going to have to let him by as soon as they get there. But yeah, that battle's raging. Gernot will be a bit wary of these two guys in front.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is Frischer's got to be careful, because I have a feeling that Luca might not be paying as close attention. Oh, he looks to the inside as they come up to Sheavlock. He is going to get to the inside, almost off the course for Novaki. Manages to keep it out of the sand, but he loses the position. Luca up to P18 now.
Yeah, that's the move of the race for me. To go too wide there is really good driving for by both of the guys. Yeah, that was a brilliant move, that was. So here comes Gernot. Yeah, Gernot's going to get around him now, guys.
We've got to duck away, though, because John Stevens now has Ove Trangrade behind him. This is for 8th place. Ever since getting by Koneski, the Norwegian has set his sights forward and is looking for one more spot. They're coming up to where he just saw that overtake here in a Sheavlock, but we're not going to see a repeat with Uwe.
Yeah, I think maybe I was right in what I was saying with Uwe later on in the race. He might get a bit of confidence, maybe a setup change in between the races, but this isn't really his car, what he normally drives, so he's doing really well. Looks like he's going to go for a little look down the inside there. No, he's not going to do it, but John goes wide there on the apex in the Williams. Beautiful paint there. I don't know which way I like best there, the Williams or the Honda.
Yeah, it's hard to choose. Stevens still good down into Hans Ernst. they got to watch out because Peter Konecki could really jump on both of them if they start to get side by side, or if the battling elicits a mistake from one of them.
Uber's looking good here now onto the front straight. He had a really nice run through the second to last corner. John Stevens going to have to go defensive here, I think, into Tarzan. Maybe not. John's got a nice top speed on that car. Yeah, he didn't even have to look in the mirrors to see what was going on there behind him. Uber just didn't have the top end there, did he?
He really didn't. He's only got 5 more laps to try and get this overtake to stick. As they come down through Hugenholtz, maybe we could see him in some of these slower corners give a sneak attack instead of after the long front stretch.
Yeah, and it's impressive to see John being able to hold off Uber in the twisty part, even though he's got less downforce in the car. But Uber right up behind him now as they go through the right-hander. Just don't take too much curb here. Don't let the car bounce too hard. Watch the curb on the outside. John goes defensive. Didn't really need to now. What's going to happen? Is Uber going to go for a dive down the inside? No, takes a wide line. Nicely around the left-hander.
Let's stay here, but somewhere along the line, we missed Fernandez getting by Baumann. So he took third back away from Chris. Still stay as they are here in this fight. Stevens in 8th, Trangrade 9th, and Konecki in 10th. Let's see if we can find that pass, because, let's see, was this recent?
It was in the Tarzan. Looked like Fernandez had a really good run out the last corner. I'm not sure if Chris Baumann made a mistake early on there, but yeah, nice run into Tarzan.
He made Fernandez work for that, though.
Yeah, side by side. Look at that, side by side all the way down then after that.
All right, as we come back live, we're back to this battle here between Stevens, Trangrade, and Konecki, because that's much closer than Fernandez and Baumann. Down to 4 to go at this point. Trangrade getting close in moments, not that close now. That gearbox shot that we saw before we went to that replay really illustrated how tightly he got to move. Little mistake from Stevens gets him even closer.
Stevens was really under pressure here, isn't he? Look at this.
Hope
Runs
to the
wide
inside.
there. Yeah, nice look for the inside for Uwe there. It's hurt him though doing that there, hasn't it? John's lost the apex again though, look, as he runs down the left-hander.
Oh,
See how they get through.
Here comes Peter. Peter's got a great run, and he's going to look to the inside, down into Hans Ernst. Tries to outbreak him, but he does not have the bravery on that left foot.
Yeah, I was just wondering about Stevens there through the chicane. He did mess it up a little bit. He just ran a little bit too wide there. Uwe's nice and close again as they go around the last corner now onto the front straight. Just see how their run is. John's got a quick car in a straight line, but Uwe's got a nice toe this time by. This could be on if he wants to do a bit of a late dive. It'll be a bit of a scary one if he does.
We'll cover off to the inside with an early turn-in from John Stevens just to make sure he doesn't send one in there. Uwe Trangrade's getting a little bit more eager. He's poking and prodding a whole lot more. They're down to 3 laps to go. Come out of Hugenholtz over Hoons Ridge. Cars start to pick up speed here, 150 miles an hour. 155 miles an hour before finally they break. Oh, a big slide coming into sheave lock from Stevens.
Wow, this is just an unbelievable battle. John Stevens really under pressure now. He's really making a lot of mistakes. Fair play to him for being able to hold off Uwe though. Like I say, Uwe's no slouch. He really is a good driver. And he'll be loving this. He'll be loving watching that. Even if it's like by about a foot of an apex miss, he'll be feeding off of it.
And another fastest lap for Freesia. Don't need to go to it, but De Sousa had a crash. It looks like he's got it going once again. I think he had a little contact from behind after he lost control. Right here is where it was. Oh, speaking of losing control, wheels off into the sand for Trangrade. That's going to put him under threat. Peter Konecki is going to know it. He gets a great run coming down the pit straight. Does he get covered off? Yes, indeed. Down to the inside defensive line from Trangrade as they go side by side into Tarzan, and he's able to hold him off.
And the annoying thing for Uwe then was John Stevens ran right around the outside of Tarzan. If he had been there on him, he would have had that position. They would have been side by side at least. Yeah, John's really struggling. He really needs to just sort of stop looking in that mirror now. Now there's a little bit of a gap. He can sort of relax a little bit. Uwe's got his mirrors filled up with Peter now, and Uwe's starting to run a bit wide now and miss up a bit. Just lost the back end there on the right-hander.
We got to go to second place because I think Fernandez has got a really good run on wood, and they've got the white flag just now. But once again, we're seeing exactly what Ove is experiencing as Sergio falls back even with a lot of slipstream. That keeps Wood safe in a critical part of the circuit.
Yeah, Sergio was all over the sand there as well, just after Tarzan. Nicely through the left-hander for both of these guys now. Don't lose the back end on power. Over the little ridge they go now. This is a really scary part of the track. You know, it must be so fast in this car. Nice lines from Matt there as they head through the right-hander now.
Let's stay with this fight, but I think Konecki got a little bit of lap traffic, and that slowed him up. So that took away the battle with Ove and Konecki and leaves it to him and Stevens. Let's continue to watch this fight for second place. Baumann watching eagerly. He could jump into this thing as they come down into Hans Ernst. After that, we'll have to jump over to our leader. A little bit of a look. Oh, late on the brakes. Nothing doing, though.
Fair play to Sergio there. He moved out of the line of the car there. Just he would have hit Matt there if he stayed behind.
We've got Gernot Friesche taking the victory, crossing the line here in the Netherlands for a victory. And Wood is going to hold him off for second. Fernandez third. Baumann just off the podium. But hats off to the number 8 for a great drive.
Looking at Uwe now, all over the back of John Stevens now as they finish the race. He had a nice chance there into the left-hander now, heading down to the chicane. Doesn't look like it's going to happen now. John, just nice and calmly, John, and you'll get it.
Yeah, that was really the last good place to try and overtake. As they come up to Kumho, John Stevens, as long as he's smooth on the throttle here, as close as Ove Trangerade is, I don't think that's enough. The finish line comes quickly. Too little, too late for Ove Trangerade. Looks like Stevens holds on to P8. Meanwhile, Stefan trying to chase home Suarez, but still a nice climb up to 13th for Stefan. And Simpkins just got by Roner recently, with Roner having a spin, unfortunately. And that'll give him 17th. Last driver on the lead lap, actually, for the number 17. But hey, number 17 finishing in 17th, that means his I rating shouldn't take too bad of a hit. All right, that's going to close it out, but we're not done with the broadcast. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because we'll have all the upcoming races here on your screen for GSRC. back to Zandvoort. We just watched round 7 in the Sunday Grand Prix series for the Lotus 79s, and it was Gernot Friesche with another victory. The only race he hasn't won this season, he didn't show up to. That was last week, and he beat Matt Wood, who gets another second place. He's got to get frustrated with all these second places he keeps racking up. Sergio Fernandez with a third, though. He couldn't beat out Matt Wood. In fact, he had to fight with the driver who finished fourth, Chris Baumann, who has turned his season around with 2 good races this week. Steve Bycroft took a P5 with Sami Toikala, a quiet run to 6th place for him. Same thing with Timo Vaskalampi. Both the Finns just basically cruising around today. John Stevens, though, had a lot of pressure. He managed to hold on to it and took 8th place ahead of Uwe Trangerade, with Peter Koneski rounding out the top 10.
Kendrick Taylor, he hit the barrier, didn't he, in the end there, Joe? Carried on going, finishing in 11th place. Pablo Suarez had a good race for him, 12th spot. Stefan Schlascher, he really painful qualifying, but did well and ended up in 13th spot. Robert Plumley in 14th. Timothy Reed in 15th spot. Robert Simpkins in 16th. Now, these are the guys that had a good race, didn't they, Joe? Tobias Rona, 17th. Luka Lechovic in 18th. And Bartosz Nowalski in 19th. Steve Siles in 20th. Great racing for those guys.
Yeah, from there on down, it's all drivers who wound up a lap down, and then a lot of DNFs at the tail end of the field. We do have our winner ready to talk to us, Gernot Friesche. He didn't show up last week, so he couldn't win that one, but still a victory here today in the Netherlands. Gernot, you just got out to the front, and then once you pulled a little bit of a gap to Matt Wood, it looked like that was the end of the story, at least in terms of battling.
Yeah, hi, Joe. Exactly. I had a really good qualifying run, and I had good race pace as well. For some reason, I was a little bit quicker than in the first race today, maybe because it was a little bit warmer. So, yeah, actually, after the first couple of laps, I was able to control the race, and, yeah, didn't have much action going on, at least at the top, but I think the guys had a good battle for second place.
Yeah, we saw as well that, as is usually expected, this track proves to be difficult to overtake on. Knowing what you know with your experience racing here with the Lotus 79s and with F1 coming here in real life, do you think the changes that they're making with the banking, do you think that'll help?
I don't even know which changes they will do to the banking. So I know they changed the track for F1, but I didn't have a look at what they really do.
Well, apologies on that then. Still, you've got a much bigger task coming up next week with the Nürburgring. It's going to be the Nordschleife once again. Are you looking forward to that? Well,
it's a very interesting track. I like driving there. I don't like practicing there because every single lap is so long. I'm usually not that good there, so I expect Matt and Steve to really be strong there, and usually I almost never win there, so yeah, we'll see if it goes better this time.
All right, well, that's, I guess, some hope for your rivals who certainly have had trouble trying to overtake you this week. Thanks for coming and talking to us, and congratulations on the win.
Thanks, guys. Congrats to Matt and Sergio as well.
Up next, looks like a driver who was a hard charger has joined us as Mick has caught up with Stefan Schlacher.
Hi, Steph. How you doing, mate?
A little bit exhausted after these 30 laps.
Yeah, just wanted to say, I think you did well. Qualified was a bit of a struggle for you today. Looks like you made a few positions. Just tell us about that, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in qualifying. 26.5, the slowest lap I've put in qualifying all day long. And I don't know, just really weird. I had no front end in the qualifying nor in the race. I had to go onto the softest ARB bar and still barely had any turn-ins. So I have to look at the data again after I've cooled down a little bit and have taken a shower, because I don't know, this just... I don't know, I just struggled all race, and then coming away with a top 12 after a 20th start is quite an achievement, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think you did well. You just mentioned the data there. You're obviously using the telemetry, the stuff provided by McLaren. Just talk a little tiny bit about that if you can. What sort of stuff do you go by? I mean, you're obviously building your own sets and going by that.
Well, going off the data is me jumping into a session and driving around again. I don't use any telemetry whatsoever to set up my cars. I most of the time just use the setup that Gernot provides for the Lotus 79 community, and then tailor it to my liking, except for my Road Atlanta setup. All setups are based off him.
Cool. Great stuff, mate. And what are you thinking about next week, Nürburgring?
That's going to be interesting. I hope I can be there. I hope I can race. Nürburgring is one of my most favorite tracks. I could probably race that track blindfolded. I've done that many laps, but hey, the Lotus 79 never did it with that car, so it should be a very interesting challenge.
Yeah, well done today, mate, and hope to see you there next week. And well done on the finish today. So, yeah, great stuff, mate.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
See you, Steph. That's it, Joe, I think. Is it for the interviews here? I was going to close it out, is it?
Yeah, I don't see anybody else waiting to talk to us, so we're going to call it a day here. We still got more broadcasts coming up we'll talk to you about in a second, but a big thank you to the Lotus 79 League, Lotus 79 community, I should say, for bringing us back for another season of coverage, but also thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. They're listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And also thanks to the team today, to Mick, Amjad, Sean, and Dougie, as well to Urka Lindstrom. Make sure, and if you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel. Facebook is at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support the channel, we've got a merch store now. It's gsrc.storenv.com. Got a link in the description below. And make sure and subscribe by clicking the big red button that says subscribe. As we've mentioned, the next race is going to be at the Nürburgring. That'll be Sunday, February 2nd at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. But we also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Make sure and tune in because we've got the Absolute Beginners League coming up very soon. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.